Hello everyone, I'm Extra Cheesy 87 and this is Let's Play Edgeworth is getting somewhat close to the end of his game, part 41. What was going on last? Oh shit! I forgot that we were stuck. Oh god, what was we were stuck. Oh no. I don't know what was going on. Oh no. It's been like it hasn't been a ton of time. It's only gonna be, it's been like 3 days. I think today's Sunday. I last recorded this game Thursday. Cause we were full on like just presenting shit, right? Like I just don't know what they want from me. Who in the world could cross over that? Only way into either embassy is through the doors. Okay. So some other way into the embassy aside from the doors. And we tried the hot dog. And that didn't count. Some way into the embassy. Only way into the embassy is through the theater. And we tried this, and it didn't work. Now, fountain? Because there was the thing where dude popped up out of the fountain or something, but we don't know where that leads to.
Objection! Knuckle back!
And we're just in full build. We just gotta try stuff, man. Otherwise, impenetrable security. And I mean, there's the fireplace, which that's not relevant for this part. There's a wire.
Objection!
They had some wire. What do you think about that shit? You know what's not impenetrable? These hair sticks that have dirt on them because they were used to do. And we tried the fire, right? I feel like I remember doing that one because, like, hey, there was some crazy fires going on, and they didn't care about that shit, right? He said, nah, that's not a credible argument, saying that the fires were a distraction. Nah, obviously that couldn't have been it. And the murder weapon is the Prima Duck statue. Is Babalaw's Prima Duck statue. Well, no, it was because it says it's Alabas statue is the one that was used as a weapon. Because I would have been like a little annoyed if it was that simple. It's Babalaw's Prima Duck statue. But actually, it's Alabas Prima Duck statue. Water pick, a photo of Yatagarasu. There were some fires. I mean, that's some KG8s. That's not really relevant to this. Blade is definitely Alabastian.
Objection! Knuckle back!
What the fuck does this man want?
Hold it!
Saying the prima duck statue was also brought. Oh yeah, I completely forgot. He's accusing Francesca. Well, way it makes sense. How exactly did she bring it over? I don't fucking know. It's a rather weak statement. Maybe. I mean, bro just literally admitted he ain't got shit. Why am I have to argue with this man? Only one who traversed. Wait, weren't you saying something different a second ago? Oh no, we were on the wrong line. I thought we were on this line. Only one who traversed the two countries before and after the crime was you.
Objection!
Only one who traversed. We tried hot dog. We tried the note. The passion, like... The fireplace?
Not so fast! Objection!
Impenetrable security.
Objection! Not so fast!
I feel like I've clicked everything. I don't know, I guess we're gonna have to pause and just... I don't understand what they want. Like, what? It was the statue? Already tried the statue. Why? It was Babalaw's statue on the third line about security. What? These two objects are able to penetrate the country's security. And then we present Babalaw's statue. But like, why wouldn't Alabast's statue work for that? Because Alabast is the one that was moved into this area that we're talking about. And aren't the two objects we're talking about the statue? Those two items are not the only two to cross the border tonight. Oh? Damastu was killed with Babalaw's Prima Duck statue, yes. If that's the case, then tell me, where did Alabast's Prima Duck statue go? To Babalaw. Precisely. And if the two statues really were switched, means both statues were smuggled across the... I mean, I just feel like that was a fucking given, obviously. I didn't realize our argument is that Wolfman's a complete and total dumbass, which I guess is fair. I wouldn't think I'd have to prove that the statues were swapped by saying, did you know... Because he's saying the statues are swapped, and then we counter by saying, yeah, well, did you know the statues were swapped? It means a total of 3 items. I mean, I guess it is very technically a contradiction. So, I mean, I'm not, like, mad about it. I somewhat get where they're coming from. It just seems unbelievably, like, did not need to be a question. Because, I mean, it doesn't, like, accomplish anything. All we're doing is arguing his point that the statues were swapped. And that Francesca's the only person... Like, we basically actually'd him. Like, it's like he misspoke, and then we're like, don't you mean 3 objects? And he's like, yeah, okay, whatever, that doesn't fucking change the argument. I guess so, but you know what? Doesn't matter the number of items, only that Sis is the only one who could have done it. Like, that's what we should have been... I don't know. I mean, like, I get, yes, it is very technically a contradiction, but it's just kind of silly. It doesn't actually move forward the argument in the slightest. Like, it's not like we can use this to lead into anything. Only person who went back and forth between Alabasta and Babala was her. Is that really true? Was there no one else who traveled between the 2 countries? Like, that's what we should have been trying to prove. There was definitely another person. One who paid a visit to both sides of the wall.
Objection!
Is that really so, Agent Long? What a lousy time to try and bluff your way out of this. I checked over what the guard said along with security cameras footage. You're not gonna overturn my hypothesis that easily.
Objection!
But suppose there was some other way other than through the theater doors. Like, it kind of pisses me off. Because if we're gonna start talking about this, like, there was a lead-in to bring up this point. But it's like, arbitrarily you have to say, actually, don't you mean 3 objects because the statues were swapped? I know you said the statues were swapped, but did you know they were swapped? Like, there was already an avenue for suggesting the Yatagarasu thing. That would have made perfect sense to bring it up naturally in the previous conversation, but, like, arbitrarily you can't do that. The other entity that managed across the border unharmed. I pointed out it opened up a whole new possibility. And though I hesitate to bring this out, as long as this entity exists, the impossible road becomes a possibility. Unless you got some clever idea in mind, I do, and I can show it to you through a single piece of evidence. Fine then. Let's see this piece of evidence that'll show me the other route. This piece of evidence will show us another way to move between the 2 countries.
Take that!
Like, it's really annoying because there was already a line that was like, there's no way to move other than through the entrance. And then you try and present this, and it's like, no, that's wrong. If that line hadn't have been there, maybe. But granted, that was the line that they wanted us to present on, was the no way to get through the security. That supernatural photo, like I said before. Humans can't fly. Of course not. I understand that perfectly well. And don't start claiming that Shiina somehow grew wings either. I wouldn't dream of claiming that. And I won't let you take back what you said either. I'll say it again. It's not humanly possible to fly through the air without wings. You better have a good explanation for this, Mr. Prosecutor. How can I prove who it was that flew through the air in this photo? Wait, not humanly possible? Eureka. Very well then. You'll have your explanation. The Yatagarasu was a crow spirit. Who can, of course, fly because it's a crow spirit. Sounds like you got a good idea simmering in the side of that head of yours. Let's hear it. The face hidden within this photo's blurry trailed shadow is... the face in the photo. Who could be flying? I mean, there's Damask. I mean, because we know he swapped them, so he had to have done it, so I guess him. Oh, well, let me present. Oh, it has to be a piece of evidence? Okay, well, I guess when they said face, I presume they wanted me to present a profile. The face hidden within the shadow is... Well, now I don't know. Well, because I was gonna say the wire, but that doesn't really feel like it relates. Because he's like, feels like he's asking who's the identity of the person. And I feel like if I present wire, it's more like this is how they were able to do it. Which is not relating to what he's asking us, but I'm guessing it's wire.
Take that!
This is the face behind the okay. What face? It wouldn't let me present a person. Show us what it is. The man-shaped shadow that flew through the air wrapped in the darkness of the night. Shape can only be one thing. You won't let me, like, present a person. And then, I mean, I guess it's like, are they chunking the statue? Is that supposed to be it? I mean, I guess it could be that it's like the statue is wrapped up in there. And I guess that's kind of a face. Because, I mean, nothing else is... But, like, which one? Okay, so they're chunking it from right to left. And Babalaw's is on the right side, so it would be Babalaw's statue.
Take that!
This is the face behind... Okay. I don't... The face... Is it Alabas statue?
Take that!
I'd be pissed if this is it. Fuck you, man! Why would it... He's chunking it from the Babalaw side to the Alabas side, so shouldn't it be Babalaw's statue that's being thrown to the Alabas side? Like, see, I mean, it's going... This is Babalaw. This is Alabas. It's being chunked from Babalaw to Alabas. Which would mean... is Babalaw's statue. Actually, the shadow's the third smuggled object, the Prima statue replica. You can't be serious. Yadagrasso, or rather Callisto Yu, dressed as Agent Shina, was inside Babalaw. She dressed the replica statue up and closed and launched it through the air. I'm about to fucking... So they just said it was Babalaw's statue. Oh, fuck, it says Babalaw, but it actually is, this is the Alabast one. Fuck you. That's... But it's like, it's, because this one says Alabast. I presume when it said Babalaw, it meant this was... But this is the one in when I was the one in Babalaw afterwards, because it's after the fire. Okay, so it's originally from Alabast. So it's like, they're both... I don't know. So this is Babalaw's originally, okay. It would help if maybe they looked a little bit different. But when it said, I presume when it said Babalaw, it meant Babalaw. My bad. But I mean, I had the right idea at least. It was just misleading. Looked at a very crucial bit in your explanation. And I also think they could have maybe just met me halfway and say as long as you click on a statue. I know I did. She launched it through the air? Teh, how exactly she do that? He is literally baring his fangs at me. He has a point. How exactly did it move through the air like that? I don't know. Slingshot? As long as this remains unsolved, we won't be able to move any closer to the truth. Reminds me, didn't he say this earlier? Hey sis, remember that just before the Ambassador Alba went to give his speech? Called you into his office, right? Just before the murder, Francesca was called here, right into this very room. If that's the case, then that may be another avenue I can pursue. Agent Long, in order for me to answer that question, I will need to hear testimony from Miss Von Karma. Oh, what are you up to now, pretty boy? Earlier you mentioned something of interest to me. You said just before the murder occurred? Miss Von Karma had been in this room because Ambassador Alba had called for her. And for that reason alone, you believe her to be the killer. Yeah, I mean, I guess I maybe said something about that, but I'd be saying lots of stuff, man. In that case, I believe it is my duty to ask her what her side of the story is. Eh! I didn't think a criminal would tell us the honest truth. How dare you! As I've said numerous times, there's absolutely no proof that I am the killer. Miles Edgeworth, don't tell me you suspect me too. I don't. However, I can't ignore the fact that you were in this room at one point in time. Why, I would like to hear about it from you. You can't hear about it from you. She's in prison already. I mean, Francesca, I feel I still don't have enough information. Which is why your testimony is incredibly important for the outcome of this case. Your perfect testimony, if you will. Alright. So, what would you like me to talk about? I'd like you to please testify to your movements up until you came into this room. Alright, let's try this your way for a change. But if what she has to say turns out to be a waste of time, I'll place it in arrest faster than you can howl no! But alright, I mean that's it. The statue thing is fine. I feel like this should be called Alaba statue instead of Babalal statue, but it's whatever. Since it does at least say it's originally from Alabas. So I'll give him a pass on that. The first prompt just shouldn't have been in the game. There was no reason for it. I should have been able to present the photo on that line of evidence. There was absolutely no point in having this extra thing where you say the statues were swapped, because that was already established. Like, that's not even like maybe making an assumption, that's literally just stated already. It's basically like needing to establish that the sky is blue for some reason. Which maybe if there hadn't been anything else, like if there wasn't already the same line of dialogue that means the same thing, it would bother me less. But presenting the photo there makes way more sense than presenting the statues. As you wish. Movements in Alabas. As I said earlier, I was assigned to guard duty in the Alabastian embassy. After I saw the Steel Samurai off on his way towards the ambassador's office, I returned to the Rose Garden for a bit and checked up on the security situation. After all the preparations were in place, I was called back by Ambassador Alba to his office. Okay, that ain't really much to go on. Francesca, I want to make this clear from the very beginning. So what I wish to confirm is that the only time span in which you were in this office was before the murder occurred, is that correct? Of course. I see. Now the only way I can see for us to break out of this situation is to ask Francesca about her testimony in more detail. Alright, I'll be pressing. Because she didn't really give us much to go on.
Hold it!
But your duty was to fact-find anything you could about the smuggling ring. That was my job, but upon hearing that the Yatagarato had sent a calling card to the embassy, Ambassador Alba called upon us to protect the embassy instead. That incident 7 years ago, or have you forgotten what happened here back then? Anything related to that case we were involved in appears to be rather painful for her. Not exactly one I can readily forget myself. Looks like you remember the case after all. Of course I do. I inspected every location, every possible escape route, and every aspect of the security detail. I did all that, then after that...
Hold it!
So you were at the theater as well? Yes, and I suppose you were also there as well watching that stage show? Well, I mean, yes, it was ballin'. And Seska was there. Well, after the show was over, I saw the Steel Samurai off. Did you have a hot dog? Why do you need to confirm the degree of preparations or even the speech? For security's sake, of course. What other reason could I have had? No one knew just how the Yatagratsu had planned on getting in, right? I suppose you're right. He's not here to help you, Edgeworth. In the end, the Yatagratsu did choose to appear in the Rose Garden. Even if it did turn out to be nothing more than a shadow. Who would have thought that she would use a shadow? What the fuck? You can't attack me! She must have been nursing a grudge over the fact she couldn't figure out herself. Anyway, there was no one in the Rose Garden, and we were aware the speech was set to start soon after.
Hold it!
All that time, Damastu's body yet to be found in this room, is that correct? That's right. But Ambassador Alba was here. One could hardly miss his rather large presence. Lady, if you were fucking talking to a tree, I'm gonna shoot you. A criminal will say anything to get out of getting arrested. How do we know you're not lying? Well, if you need proof, I'd be happy to oblige you. Seriously? Like I keep telling you. When I arrived at this office, Ambassador Alba was already here. He was standing by the flower box in the windowsill, watering his plants. Hey, I'm in this game too. I can attest to that. Remember speaking with the lovely lady around the time here in my office. Alright then. Add that statement to your testimony. Let's hear some details. Ambassador Alba was in the room at the time, was he?
Hold it!
For the sake of being thorough, I'd like to ask you something. How did you know that Ambassador Alba was watering his plants at the windowsill? What do you mean by that? The entrance to the room is on this side, however the window's on the opposite side. What you say is true. And when you entered the room, his body would have been like a wall. He would have been blocking your view of what he was doing, and that's not correct? I suppose it's a bit hard to see around him, especially considering he was a tree. But fortunately for me, Ambassador Alba is not an immovable wall. I knocked before I entered, and as I did, he turned around to greet me. With a watering can in his hand. It's only natural if he was watering his plants, right? I suppose. After his greeting, we spent a little time talking about his flowers. Did he say anything? He had attained them himself and is growing them with the utmost care, you know. Yes. The plants in this room, they're all like my children. The passion flowers in the flower box in the windowsill are growing beautifully too. All 4 of them are in full bloom. 4! Miss Von Karma, what did you say just now? Actually, I'll have you know there are only 2. I mean, that's a situation where the actually would make sense, but I mean, like it doesn't really make sense for us to be like there's only 2, but there's a clear lead in there compared to the statues, where you had to say the statues first before you could say the thing that actually made sense. What about that statement? Do you not understand? What do I not understand? I do not understand why a certain thing is the way it is. I'd like if you to pin that statement to your testimony. Very well. Like, it would be like for this line, if for some reason I had to present like the spear or something. Like, just completely random. Before I could say this. Francesca? For some odd reason, your testimony contradicts with this piece of evidence. It does appear that way. Yeah, I knew it. This lady stole the flowers and is a murderer. I don't know which one gets you more time in this country. I knew we couldn't trust your word, sis. Mr. Edgeworth? What are you doing discrediting Miss Von Karma like this? Yeah, sir. You keep this up, she's gonna get taken away, sir. Ah! All I've done is state what I saw. I have not made a single mistake in my testimony. And for this, I am still under suspicion for murder. Is the number of flowers really all that important at this juncture, Miles? At the very least, it's a contradiction in the cinematic case. One that or it would be like if she said there were several flowers, and then we're like, actually, there were only 2 flowers. I guess that would be like a better analogy to like what the previous prompt was. If instead of saying 4, she said like several. And then we're like, did you know there were only 2? And if 2 means a couple, several is 4 to 7. Everyone knows this. One that I find hard to dismiss as irrelevant. Let's hear it, Mr. Prosecutor. What's the number of flowers got to do with anything? What does it prove? I believe the answer to that would become clear if we were to examine that flower box. How did this contradiction come about? There must be something behind this discrepancy. They're my beloved children. They're all of the utmost care. I ask you, please be gentle with them as you examine them, Mr. Edgeworth. I understand. I will look at all your nooks and crannies. Yes, yes. Patch of soil looks like though there's something removed from it. What you doing, Mr. Prosecutor? Why you clam up all of a sudden? Still here waiting for an explanation, you know? You know, Agent Long, flowers are best appreciated in silence. Long, she didn't say nothing about that? Looks like 2 things are pulled out of this flower box. The name of these flowers, I believe they're called passion flowers. Despite being called flowers, they're actually a species of vine. They appear to be growing well and are well supported by these plant supports. Yeah, but no matter how I look at it, it looks like these are the only 2 here to me. You realize, don't you, sis? Your little lies failed you. The way you lied about the number of flowers. Something only a murderer would say. Miles Edgeworth? Hurry up and shut this man up for me already. I suppose I will need to use some evidence to shut him up, won't I? I mean, I feel like I would show the evidence on the things that are removed, not on the flowers. I am just the piece of evidence you require. Oh, you do you? Got such confidence in the face of your current plight? I highly doubt it'll last to the end. You howl like a wolf, Agent Long. But we'll see if you have any bite to back up that bark after you see the evidence. I mean, I don't really know what we're gonna do with this, but...
Take that!
Sheena, who was supposedly in Babala the entire time, had these hair sticks on. Oh, okay, so we're gonna connect it to... She would have been on this side. Okay. That look exactly like the plant supports in this flower box. In other words, I believe it can be said these hair sticks are in actuality support sticks for the passion flowers. And so what? Is this really all that important to the case? I would agree with you, but he's got a point. He's kind of spitting. Of course it is. It means that we found yet another item that was smuggled between the countries tonight. Yeah! Think about it logically, Agent Long. These sticks were originally in Alabas. But somehow they wound up in Sheena's hands, who was in Babala the whole night. Make no mistake, these sticks were smuggled somehow, just like the knife and statue. Very well then. I want to hear from you exactly how they wound up in Babala. To repair. How did these support sticks find their way to Babala and why? There must be some reason as why they ended up there. Ah, so that's why. Yeah, share with the class, Edgeworth. Agent Long, if you would please take a look at this and tell me its shape. Just another stick, isn't it? And so it is, with the shape of the support stick is what is important. But when they are used with something in this room, that's when it all comes into focus. The object that completes the picture when used with the support sticks is, I don't know, the fucking crossbow?
Eureka!
That's a crossbow. Wait, you're not really suggesting... I am. These hair sticks, or rather plant support sticks, they make for perfect arrows. I don't know about perfect. Yay! I've done it. I found the common thread that connects the two offices. This thread is yet to be completely untangled. So, like, they got the dirt or the blood off them, but they left the dirt? That seems unlikely. Even using the arrows. How does this explain how the statues are transported? Or I guess they're not saying they're the murder weapons. They're just saying using it for, like, launching them, I guess. Okay. Because we still technically don't have the murder weapon for Damask. Well, no, we said it's the statue. Never mind. Yeah, you're right. So it's... Oh yeah, but there's no shot would be able to carry those big ass statues. Even using the arrows, how does this explain how the statues are transported? Furthermore, who could it have been who fired these sticks as arrows? Must be a common thread that ties all these things together. I mean, I guess you could use it for the wire. Like, tie them to the things and then shoot the wire into, like, the wall. And then use that to crawl across, maybe? But I don't know if I'd necessarily trust how stable the sticks would be. As, like, anchor points.
Not so fast!
But I'll accept it, I guess, even if it is a little... It's silly, but I can buy it. Mr. Prosecutor, hold up a sec. You do realize what happens when you tie a statue to an arrow, right? They don't fly at all. Just like people. So Babylon statue was draped in Yadagrasu's clothes and shot over here. Even if he fired the arrows on this side, they wouldn't go far with the statue tied to him. I don't think I need to tell you the Prima Duck statues didn't sprout wings. You're a realist after all, ain't you? Prima Duck statues didn't sprout wings. Of course they didn't. Glad you understand. I feel much better already. I was afraid for a second that you were unaware of that crucial fact. It's only crucial because you're under the belief that wings are necessary to this equation. What? You need to free your mind a bit more. Let it fly like a bird on the wind. The Prima Duck statues flew, but not on a wing. Allow me a bit of your time and I'll explain this mysterious phenomenon to you.
Hold it!
Okay, let's take a sip of the sauce real quick. That incredible scene just happened to have been caught on film, resulting in this photo. And what an incredible scene it was! The photo was taken by a freelance photojournalist, right? So I hear. Not every photojournalist is known to be honest, right? Especially not the ones that sell photos of spirits and giant creatures to tabloids. I know what you mean. I've seen those sort of photos too many times in court. But there have been times when those photos have turned out to be telling the truth. If you have ever stood in a court of law, you would know that it's entirely plausible. You really believe the stuff you're spewing right now? A courtroom certainly is a strange place if what you say is true. There really is something odd about that photo no matter how you look at it.
Hold it!
I mean, I have the idea that it was just to send the wire across, but I don't really know how we're gonna get to that point, because it didn't really seem like a fit for any of the lines. We're in agreement that an arrow by itself would reach the other side, correct? Just the arrow by itself's pretty meaningless, don't you think, Mr. Prosecutor? Because the things they wanted to smuggle were a lot bigger than nothing. Okay, maybe here. not necessarily true. What? What I need right now is not further discussion of my conclusions. It's the launching of my conclusions. What the shooter wanted to launch at the crossbow was not the statues themselves. Yeah, okay. So, presumably we do it here. Like, as they kind of changed the wording. Because this is more of a like a thing you can build on. Or, well, I don't know, this is the next sentence. So, honestly, let's just go ahead and do it.
Objection!
I kind of want to, like, finish this section so I can call it because I'm a little sleepy, but finally we have reached this point in our discussion, where I present to you that which was carried by the arrow from the crossbow. I get it now, Mr. Prosecutor. I can see exactly what you're trying to say. You're saying the wire was tied to an arrow and then shot into Mr. Cochin's office. All the way from the 5th floor of the Albacian Embassy down to the 3rd floor of the Babalese Embassy. Yes, what you're claiming is really what happened. I can see how Alabas Prima Duck statue could be moved. Gravity could be used to move the statue down the wire from the 5th to the 3rd floor. Okay, and I wasn't thinking about the elevation difference, because I was thinking it was more like you just kind of like crawled across with the statue, which seemed unlikely, but yeah, I guess if you tied it to it and just let it slide down into the window, I could definitely see that. What about Babalaw's Prima Duck statue? True, that dark shadow in this photo is clearly far away from Babalaw. Going in the opposite way of gravity from the 3rd floor of the Babalese Embassy to the 5th floor of the Alabastian Embassy. How do you explain that? I think I finally see how the gears behind this whole trick work. Yep, share with the class. Agent Long, the motion used behind this trick, I wonder if perhaps you have yet to envision how it works in your head? Motion? What motion? This is the motion that was employed to smuggle... Bungee action, rotary motion, swinging motion. So, I mean, let's just say you have it here and you swing it, it would just drop to right here. Right? It would go toot. Bungee action? I mean, in theory, I guess. I don't really think it's that type of wire. I don't really know what it means by rotary motion. I mean, there's no, like, rotation or anything going on. So I guess bungee action? The damn slingshot? Which I did say earlier. A bit of bungee action was employed. But bungee action? You saying the wires act as a bungee cord and the statue was hauled up? That's a simple way of putting it, but yes. Did you think about the weight of the statue at all? That thing's solid gold. Well, one of them's fake. Before that thing ever reached the office window, the wire would have snapped. Let's consider your idea and say the wire is the elasticity required. You fired that kind of wire from a crossbow? Yeah, it could come sailing back at the person that shot it. Talk about dangerous. Okay. He's absolutely right. I mean, that's fair. It did seem like a silly idea. It just seemed like the least silly, or like the most plausible to me. Having a bit of a hard time right now dealing with the jurisdiction thief, who lacks understanding of the most basic things like physics, Mr. Prosecutor. I just don't know what it means by rotary motion. I need to calm down and think through this once more, because swinging motion doesn't make any fucking sense. I believe it was done via rotary motion. Like, what do you mean by this? The two statues are transported simultaneously. Simultaneously, get real! Statues will collide somewhere along the way!
Objection!
Did I ever say there was only one line of wire between the two offices? If you shot an arrow with two ends of wire tied to it, a circular belt can be formed.
Knuckle fast!
Longji says don't object and call it success what is beyond reasonability. Taking into account the tension difference between the two wires, the top one would sag too much to the point where the statues would collide anyway.
Objection!
I know you are, but what am I? As you know, the Prima Deck statue is a one-of-a-kind national treasure. The fact that Bob statue is a hollow replica of a real statue. It would naturally be lighter than the real one. Well, that's why that's why the bungee should have worked. I mean, if you're gonna bring this up, the idea that they do have different weights here, you should bring it up for the bungee defense. Because we would have been shooting the fake one over to Alabas. So that would be the lighter one. Longji says, because I don't. Like, the wire wouldn't work like that. How? Here's what I believe happened. Miss Yu and a mystery co-conspirator set themselves up in two different rooms. Co-conspirator bridged the rooms by shooting the two ends of the wire down on one arrow. Then the two of them covered the statues and proceeded to transport the statues. After the switch was completed, another arrow was fired, carrying the other end of the wire down to Babala where it was disposed of. And to do that, Miss Yu hid it inside the grandfather clock QED. That proves it. It still just doesn't really make much sense to me, but whatever. That I'm not the killer. Not yet, sis. Still haven't had my dessert yet. Right, Mr. Prosecutor? The proof is in the pudding, as it were. Pudding is a nice dessert. Damn true, partner. That's a perfect place to end it, if I've ever seen one. I just don't get, like... I mean, I get the idea of it, like... that it's gonna, like, maybe be pulling it as it's falling down, but I just don't buy that there would be enough, like, force to take it up that much, you know? Like, I just don't, that seems way less plausible to me than the bungee cord, that you just shot it into the window. And then if there was somebody waiting there, they could have caught it because it's a, you know, cheap ass piece of shit. It wouldn't be so bad. Now, the idea that the wire has that level of elasticity seems a little unlikely. But that makes more sense to me than we made a conveyor belt. But alright, we're going to call it here, and next time we will, I don't know, see what the next part of the investigation is. I'm XShoes87, stay tuned for the next part, and bye guys.